Onto the buy now sell now lens. We have the double bonanza for our viewers because, like Sharon mentioned, we will be talking about the metal index, which has hit a record high levels. But apart from that, we will be focusing on the stock of the day on the back of a big news flow, that is Kotak Mahindra Bank, wherein Uday Kotak has tendered his resignation. And Kotak Mahindra Bank has actually underperformed in the recent past, but the clarity on succession could make the stock outperform going ahead. And that's the take coming in from Nikunj Talmia, managing editor, ET Now and ET Now Swadesh. Let's listen into his take on Kotak Mahindra Bank.
See, there are two things. One is the near term, that why has he decided to step down 4 months ahead of his actual tenure, and second is the legacy part. Now, legacy part is something which, look, if there's a pedestal of great bankers which ever has to be made, I guess Mr. Kotak's name would be right up there in terms of the positioning. He's one of the best bankers in the world. He's created from an unknown brand to an unforgettable franchise, a bank which is built to last, a bank which has created shareholder value and ranks right up there in terms of customer satisfaction. So in terms of legacy of Mr. Uday Kotak, the impact he will have on the banking sector per se, the changes, the fundamental thought with which the governance and with which this great franchise was managed, I guess is quite extraordinary. Now the second and the immediate part, which is that why has he decided to step down early? I will not perhaps read too much into it, excepting the fact that it may be a coincidence that the top three office bearers at the helm of Kotak Mahindra Bank, just a coincidence, but that term will be ending by year end. So I think he's decided, and the reason what he's citing to whatever we've read in the Economic Times is that, look, there is a family commitment, bete ki shaadi hai in November, and then he said that, look, for me, last financial year is over and I pretty much wanted to give the succession planning, and this is the handover for me. So his tenure, in terms of, the fact that he stepped down early, I will not read too much into it. Now is the third part. What happens to the stock? The stock is underperformed. Kotak Mahindra Bank, which was at once upon a time commanding a premium of about 5 to 6 times book, price to book, trading at a premium to HDFC Bank, it has been a massive wealth creator, has underperformed. A, because of price, and B, because of overhang of succession planning. The succession overhang planning, I think what Mr. Kotak has indicated, that they've submitted 2 internal names. And we understand that one of the front runners there could be Mr. Manian. Now the stock has underperformed, the overhang is there. Because of his resignation or because of the fact that he's decided to step down, the overhang will not be lifted. The stock, in a sense, will rediscover momentum when markets will get a clarity on how the baton would move. But the stock is cheap now. So I think on bad days, if you start accumulating Kotak Mahindra Bank as a stock, because relative valuations are now cheaper than HDFC Bank also, I think for 2024 and 25, this could be an outperforming stock.
All right, so that is the editor's take coming in on Kotak Mahindra Bank, which indeed is the stock of the day. But let's talk about the sector of the day, and that definitely has to be the metal sector. Like I mentioned earlier as well, record high levels is what the metal sector has actually hit in today's trading session. Be it Tata Steel, be it Nalco, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Jindal Steel, anything which has metal related to it is seeing a sharp spike. But why is it that the metal sector is rallying today? Let's bring on board Ashesha, who actually tracks the sector like a hawk, isn't it, Ashesha? What exactly is happening in the metal space? Because today, all of a sudden, you're seeing a sharp rally that's coming in this particular sector. What's aiding this rally, and how should one view it?
Well, yes, so we are getting a lot of positive news from China. Remember, China is the biggest producer and consumer of most commodities, and hence any positive news from China is a big positive. Now, we've been talking about Nifty Metal underperformance for the last many months now, but looks like the tide is turning. Now, on a year-to-date basis, Nifty Metal underperformance has now narrowed, and that's a positive, and that's because of the positive news that's coming in from China. In fact, today morning, we have the news where Chinese government has gone ahead and cut down payments for buyers. They've also additionally encouraged lenders to lower rates on existing mortgages. As far as down payment is concerned, nationwide minimum down payment for first time buyers has been reduced to 20% and 30% for second time buyers. So positive news coming in from China, because of which Nifty Metal Index in fact is at the lifetime high today. It was trading at Nifty Metal Index was at about 6,900 earlier in the year, but has now surpassed that 7,000 mark. Chinese economy looks like the government is undertaking a lot of efforts to ensure that economy comes back on track. We have a lot of demand from infrastructure and the housing segment. Remember, weak housing market was one of the reasons why Chinese economy was not performing well, apart from rising debt levels. But looks like the government is undertaking a lot of efforts to ensure that the Chinese economy comes back on track yet again.
Okay, Ashesha, you did talk about the international trigger for the metal prices, but today if we see that the metal stocks are rolling, so in the domestic market, are these companies taking the benefit of the international triggers, and how these companies are placed? Are they companies raising prices?
Well, yes, domestic steel market in fact is doing pretty well. As far as the demand is concerned, domestic steel demand continues to remain strong. Remember, deficit rainfall has proven to be a positive for the steel prices. Steel demand continues to be robust. Ahead of the elections, infrastructure demand is also very strong, because of which demand continues to see an uptick. In fact, as far as steel prices are concerned, fifth price hike is what we have seen in a matter of just 5 weeks. Since early August, cumulative price hike has been to the tune of 5,000 to 6,200 rupees per ton, and steel prices now stand at about 56,500. Strong demand is the primary reason why steel prices have picked up. In fact, Prabhudas Leeladhar came out with a note where they are maintaining their positive stance on the steel sector as we move out of the seasonally weak quarter. So yes, positives coming in, domestic demand continues to remain strong, and steel prices have also inched higher.
All right, so that's what's exactly happening with the metal sector. Thank you so much, Ashesha, for breaking it down with us, both on the international front as well as what is happening in the domestic market. But let's ask our experts, actually, what should you do with the metal space? If you're already invested, then is it a good time, if you're making profits, to book out profits, or you should stay put with this particular sector as a whole? And our experts today are Ashish Maheshwari as well as Aditya Agarwala. Thank you so much, Aditya, as well as Ashish, for joining us on ET Now, especially on Buy Now Sell Now. And Aditya, let me come first to you. Let's talk about technicals. Metal sector actually has been in favor for a while. Actually, a lot of technical analysts actually turned bullish with the hope that you'll have the Chinese economy reopening. There will be more sort of gusto when it comes to the growth, and in return you'll have the metal sector do well. But that's not exactly happened as we had expected it to happen. Now you have the government giving in stimulus, therefore you're seeing metal sector actually see a bounce back. But on the charts, do you think this bounce back will sustain?
Hi, good morning, Cheryl, and good morning, Shrishti as well. Thank you for the show. Clearly, there is a breakout on the metal index, as Shesha was also pointing out. It's broken out from that resistance trend line of 7,000. Looks like it's headed to 7,950 to about 8,000 levels, which is a big upside on the metal index. And as you pointed out, most of these metal stocks have been underperforming. Look at the way SAIL has outperformed in last two trading sessions. It is trading at I guess a 52-week high, a big up move on SAIL that we are witnessing, a big up move on Tata Steel. Tata Steel hasn't performed at all in the recent times. Even though JSW Steel, names like Jindal Steel, they were outperforming NMDC. But somehow Tata Steel and SAIL were not outperforming at all. They were not participating in the metal rally, whatever little we had witnessed earlier. My sense is this rally is here to stay, and this could have further legs on the upside, especially if I talk about 3 to 4 stocks. A name like a Tata Steel, JSW Steel, NMDC, Steel Authority of India, SAIL. I think all 4 stocks look extremely attractive on the charts. If somebody holds on to it for at least 6 months to about a year's time, they have good, decent money in the making in these stocks. Just to give you a ballpark figure of what these levels could be. For Tata Steel, I believe a stock can easily test levels of 160 to about 190 on the upside. Yes, that's a big upside on Tata Steel that I'm looking at. JSW Steel could easily test levels of 875 to about 900 on the upside. NMDC could test levels of 150 to about 190 on the upside. Similar is the case with SAIL, could test easily levels of 120, 100 on the upside. So these are some of the stocks which definitely stand out on the charts, and looks like there is some more movement on the upside. And there is a shift also, Cheryl, which is happening, sectoral shift. Maybe because of the China boost to the property sector, not only metals, but look at real estate stocks, look at cement stocks, all these participants are also chipping in. So real estate stocks, as you mentioned, is looking very attractive. It could be a Dalmia Bharat, an Oberoi Realty from the real estate, a DLF. From the cement pack, look at UltraTech Cement trading at an all-time high, Dalmia Bharat. So I believe this entire sector is looking very good, and definitely metals stand out within the entire sector.
Okay, so those are the top recommendations coming in from Aditya as well as targets on some of the stocks that he highlighted. But Ashish, coming to you, and we did talk about the fundamental triggers for the metal space right now, but it is very volatile sector, very much dominated by the international news flow, and investors are quite cautious when they're entering the metal space. We have seen a great rally post-COVID, but after that it was underperforming the benchmark indices. But with the kind of an up move in the recent days, how much confidence do you have on the fundamental side on these metal counters, and which will be your top recommendations?
Yes. If you see when the metal indices has touched 52-week high today. So this is not something that market was not anticipating that sooner or later some rally will come. So this rally we are witnessing now. Second, if you see even the performance of like metal companies, for quite some time they were in quite very narrow range. Now that range is breaking up because market was waiting for some stimulus or some trigger so that they can buy these stocks. And those triggers are coming. First of all, from China, like your analyst has already told so many things. Besides this, also what has happened is from the US side, the kind of employment data has come. Now it looks like that in this year there won't be any rate hike because job market is cooling down there. So this is again a shot in the arm for the metal sector. And we all know that domestically also there's a good demand from all auto companies or FMCG companies and housing sector. So metal prices are quite buoyant now. So all these factors are contributing here. My top picks are Tata Steel. I think there's a stock has got now a new level of 150, 160. I'm anticipating, along with NMDC and JSW Steel, we should watch for. And I'm bullish now in this sector. In my view, this indices has potential to even touch 7,100 mark.
All right, so bullish take coming in from both of our experts when it comes to the metal sector and also sharing which are their topics in that particular sector.